Rise, Ashen, Tarnished, Chosen, Undead, and welcome Souls fans, new and old, to the 4th installment of our Dark Souls Platinum Guide, aimed for all skill levels and factoring in worst case scenario, no drops or no items that I will use at any point in the game that will not be accessible to you, guaranteed, so that you can definitely follow along and not go, well, that enemy didn't drop it for me, so there we go. We are at Zen's Fortress, chugging along nicely. We're 7 trophies in already. Our character stats, we're at level 30. They look as follows. Equipment wise, you may have a few more or less arrows than I do, but that is why we have no souls on us, because the last thing that we did was we spent the remaining souls we had on arrows, because we are going to use some of those moving forward. Don't worry if you don't have the blooming purple moss clump, you don't even need that at this stage. All is good. But yeah, here we are. Okay, onwards to Zen's Fortress. So we are going to be doing a bit of homeward boning. If you don't have 3 homeward bones, then you are going to have to do some backtracking to make up for that fact, but nothing too difficult for you to do in that scenario, so don't worry if you have had to use more than I have. Careful here, there's a trap on the floor that's going to fire 3 darts at you. What you're going to do, you're going to stick to the right. There are 2 man serpent enemies at the top. If you come to the base of this pillar here on the right, the one on the left will aggro, but the one on the right will not. So while he runs, once he's in the middle, trigger the trap, or let him trigger the trap in this case. Oh, 1 done, that's fine. So man serpents, easy enough, block with shield. As always, stick to your right, their left for backstabs. However, we are going to start practicing and also farming our parries. These are a great enemy to do it. They have a similar moveset to the Silver Knights and Black Knights, who we are going to need to be parrying later on. So it is good parry practice for you, and you're near a bonfire in case it goes wrong. So there's a lunge attack, they have a sweeping attack, they then have a bite attack followed by, wow, he did all 3 in the perfect order, followed by a big swing. The first 2 you can parry. The bite and swing you cannot. So if he goes for a bite, go for a backstab. Oh, I wasn't in front of him, that was my fault. Come up here. Come into the light. Or just stand there glitched. Fine, we'll go for a backstab. So it's good to parry them. I can't believe I've got a Man Serpent Greatsword already. So this item drop is something that we're going to farm for later. And because we're farming, I will pick it up. I am going to show you the farm, and I'll tell you when it is best to do the farm. But yeah, I mean, that makes this video shorter for anyone watching, so that's good. But yes, so we'll be doing a bit more parry guide. It is worth parrying them because there is one coming up in a narrow area. Come to the edge of this bridge, don't go further yet. What we're going to do, this one up here, we are going to bully off the edge with body shots, don't headshot. It doesn't push him back enough. And it's going to take around 8 hits in the body to get him to fall off the edge. As you can see, he's throwing a lightning spear spell. Just be careful not to waste arrows hitting the pendulums. There we go. Down he goes, and that's a problem dealt with. So for the pendulums, shield up. That way if you do get nudged, there is a chance that it won't hit you off. For the first ones, we're just going to walk in between. Nice and easy, like so. You can run as well, just be careful not to run too far forward. Okay, wow, RNG is in our favour for once. There is a lizard man enemy here. He has fallen off for some reason, I'm not sure why. So this is the one where it's best to be able to parry. Don't worry, we're going to be doing this multiple times, so you will see him in my next one. Apologies, it has been kind to me twice, which makes me dubious about this run. For this one, it's a 2 and a 2, so what we're going to do is we're going to run, stop, shield, run, and keep going. There's a trap here that's going to fire 3 more darts, and then open the chest for 2 large titanite shards. Excellent. Up here, There is a lizard man here. Now, we are going to break this wall later on to get to Big Hat Logan in his cell. There is a shortcut way of doing that using this enemy. If you get him to attack you while you're next to the wall, he can hit the wall. But because that is not guaranteed, for myself, it's maybe 2 out of 3 times it works. I'm going to just go with the guaranteed method so that you don't have to worry about anything to do with that. We're going to get the boulders to do it for us, like that boulder there. Now, you can stand out the edge with your shield up and let the boulder do all the work for this guy, but it's parry practice for you as well. So what you're looking for the parry is when the weapon starts to head down. So if you look at the arm, you can see the big wind up that he had. Once the arm starts to drop down, that's the start of your parry window. Once the weapon is about to hit you, that is the end of your parry window. In Dark Souls 1, it's quite a forgiving window. Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to wait for a boulder to come down. And then we're going to sprint. And we're going to duck in on the left here. Now there's a 50-50 whether that lightning-wielding serpent enemy is going to come in here. Well, there's 3 options. He either comes in, the boulders deal with him, or he stays where he is. All you need to make sure is don't let him hit you. He does a lot of bleed damage, he is able to stagger you, so yeah, just be careful. As you saw, I kept my distance, I two-handed. Oh, and this one heard the noise. Right, back to parry training. No, not with the head, come on, with the sword. Swing, oh, so I wasn't directly in front of him, so the parry didn't work. Come on, with the sword. There you go, so as you saw, I waited, and once the sword started to move towards me, I then did the parry. Wait, once the sword starts to move towards you, get the parry. Lovely. Right. That enemy won't always come through there, and again, the lightning enemy won't always come down here, or might die to the boulders. So, just something to keep in mind. We're now going to wait for a boulder to come down, and we're going to run up the stairs into that little cove. For our next ring that we'll be using a lot for this run. The Ring of Steel Protection. Okay. Put it on. So that reduces physical damage taken. In your first game it's not as critical, but in New Game Plus it actually does make a fair difference. Okay, so when the next boulder drops, we are going to drop down here to the left. We are going to grab the showtol. Now, again, RNG is in my favour, apologies, but don't worry, I will explain. The man-serpent enemies that are now dead next to Sigmar there, they may still be standing. The only one you would have to deal with in that case is this one close to you. It will look like you can get a backstab, however, it is not. Once you get behind him, he will move. All I would say is just lure him back here and either backstab or parry him to kill this one. You don't have to go any further than that. Now what we do need to do after we've got the showtol, I did pick it up. Please say I picked it up. Yeah, I did. Showtol. Is we do, once we've dispatched this enemy, or if it's already beaten by him, we do need to talk to Sigmar. So he's going to say that the boulders are in the way. Speak to him one more time and he's going to say, perhaps I should try rolling. But that would make my head spin. Cool. And after that, homeward bone back. You can go back up the path where the boulders were coming down. But in honesty, it's not necessary. Keeping this simple for you, also giving you a chance to get the man-serpent sword dropped, because odds are, I apologise, you probably won't have had it dropped as early as I did. I was expecting a hefty farm for that. Come here, repair if you wish. But what we're going to do is we're going to purchase arrows until we have 200. Doesn't have to be on the nose. Oh. But that's going to see you for a little bit. Right, run number 2. Now, because we came back to this bonfire, the trap at the entryway may not always reset. More often than not, it won't reset at that bonfire, unless you are defeated. In this case, it has, so sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Just to be aware of, before you move any further forward, just check the status of the trap, if it is raised or if it's still in the floor. If it's raised, it's armed. So again, come to this pillar, don't come too much further forward. Man Serpent on the left is going to engage. Once he's in the middle, walk on the trap. We're going to get parry and bop him. Come up here. The sword swings down. So even if you do get the Man Serpent sword drop, or even before I tell you about the farm, if you want to just keep going back to the bonfire, come here, beat these two. If you just want to get practice on your parries, definitely recommended. These are great enemies to do it on. It's kind of a controlled setting, and as I said, they have the move set that you want to be familiar with. So we're going to arrow bully this lightning guy. Again, anything but headshots is good. Just be mindful that as you do, I know you don't necessarily get to see it with this field of view, but as you do knock him, his body does move slightly, so if you might have to just realign your shots. And here's the lizard and this Man Serpent I was telling you about that's normally on the bridge. As you can see, there's not much room to get behind him, so definitely I do recommend going for the parry. Two parries and he's gone. Also, don't worry, soon enough that will only be one parry, so... Up we come. The other reason why I quite like to split this is if you're watching in advance, you can see multiple times the pathing that you're going to take. So, now that we've spoken to Siegmeyer, we should no longer have the serpent enemy here. The one at the top will still be there, the one that was throwing the lightning spears, but the one that was on this path is no longer here. Siegmeyer has now dealt with those enemies, even if he didn't the first time. So we're going to come up here. Once the boulder's gone past, run up. We're going to come in, and we're going to wait, because that enemy may follow. We do not want to get backstabbed. Okay, it looks good. Watch out for the trap that's on the floor here. So I run past, I quickly duck to the side, and that way there's a chance that some of those arrows might hit this Man Serpent. So if he goes for the bite, go for the backstab. And boulders here. So what we're going to do, once the next boulder goes, we're going to quickly run out, turn right, and we're going to drop down the 5th at Clove. 2 hands, let's go. 1, 2, 3, 4. See that break there? And drop and stab. So you do have a bit of flexibility, whether it be the 4th or the 5th, but as you see, it was where that broken pillar was. That's our cue where we're going to drop down. If you can get the plunging attack, bonus. If not, just 2-hand and start attacking as quickly as you can. The key thing is that you land on that ledge. Come around here, Black Sorcerer set, but more importantly, when you press X again, there is sorcery, our second sorcery, the Hush sorcery, required for the All Sorceries trophy. We're then going to come here, and on this ledge here, we're going to wait for a boulder. Drop, roll as soon as you land so that you can get recovery and start moving quicker. Now, as you can see, there is a hole there. While we do this next part, boulders are going to continue to fill that hole for us ever so kindly. And the next part is we're going to deal with our first mimic. Here it is. Now, the way you can tell a chest in Dark Souls 1 is a mimic is based on the chain. On the left of the chain, your right, on the left of the chest, your right, its left. And if we look, you can see here that that chain is facing away from the chest. Normally, if you've paid attention, I haven't brought it up, but if you've seen it, the chains normally curl round inwards. That's a normal chest. If it curls away, that is how you know it is a mimic. So, you get 3 or 4 swings while it's waking up. If you try to open the chest, it's going to eat you and potentially one-shot you. But in this case, we're going to wake it up with aggression. Swing, 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 and then we're going to play it safe, back away. So the mimic has a few offensive moves, but the one you need to look out for is the grab. Always stay to the side or behind. So that's its claw swing, you've seen its kick, it has a pirouette jump, and then it's got its grab. The grab is the one that you can't block and can one-shot you. So we're playing very careful, we're making sure we don't let it grab us. And to do that, you keep to the side, you keep behind him. And at this rate, I'm not going to get to show you the grab, because all he's doing is his aggressive moves. If you are in front and it attacks, like I did there, if in doubt, just roll. Otherwise, as long as you keep to the side, there's the grab. So if you see it, 2 hands go behind him, that's when you need to make sure you're locked on, get round behind. If you are in front, or if you're within if you're more in front than you are to the side, then it will grab you and it will one-shot you. Once it's defeated, pick up the lightning spear. That is the next weapon we're going to be using for our run. As an alternative, at the beginning when we did the Firelink couple of chests, you should have picked up some Lloyd's talismans. As an alternative, if you don't want to fight the mimics, we're only going to fight a couple, what you can do is throw a Lloyd's talisman at the chest. What that will do is that will open the chest and put the mimic to sleep, at which point you can take the item without fighting the mimic. So that is up to you. In the meantime, we're going to equip our lightning spear. And sorry, just had to check my notes. At this point, we should now have boulders, there we go, have filled that gap. So when the next one passes, we are going to follow. We're going to run to this corner and get a critical item, the covetous gold serpent ring. Cannot stress the importance of this ring enough. What this ring does is it boosts item discovery. What that means is when you are defeating enemies, they are more likely to drop items and more likely to drop rare items, significantly increasing the percentage chance of you getting drops. So whenever we're farming for items, we must use the covetous gold ring, and in the top left you want to make sure you have at least 10 humanity. 10 humanity or more, doesn't matter how, after 10, the scaling doesn't matter. 10 humanity or more and the covetous gold serpent ring means in your view stats, in the right hand column, item discovery 410, the maximum item discovery you can have, so the best chance of getting drops. So with that, we're going to homeward bone. We're going to come back to Andre and we're going to upgrade this lightning spear. So, pair if you wish. but more importantly, reinforce, lightning spear, and if you've been doing everything that I've been doing, you should be able to get this to +3. If your crystal lizards have been kinder to you, you may have some titanite chunks left, but you should be able to get your lightning spear to +3 regardless, and that's where we want it to be. So, I was incredibly lucky and got a man serpent greatsword dropped already. You may not have been, so now we are going to do the man serpent farm. In the interest of this video, I'm going to show you 2 runs just to show it's identical every time. With the new +3 spear, lightning spear, you will find that you are now able to defeat them in either 1 parry or definitely 1 parry and a poke. Backstab, you will not be able to defeat them in 1. So the traps reset. Bait out the first. We do not want to fight 2 on 1. They do still do a decent amount of damage. So you do not want to get mobbed. We're playing smart, not hard. Make sure you've got your coveted gold equipped. Make sure that you've got 10 humanity. There we go. So we've already improved. So once you've killed them, you are going to run back to the bonfire. That will respawn the enemies and area. Does not guarantee to respawn the trap. And then you are going to keep doing that until you get the man serpent greatsword dropped. So I'm going to do 1 more. I would recommend do this, even like me, if you've got the man serpent greatsword at this point, do at least 2 of these farm runs, and then do, so yeah, as you can see the trap's not reset, and then do 1 final one. So it's good to get a few extra souls. My aim is that after 2 runs we will have the number of souls we need for the next sections. So, but can't stress, to keep the game as easy as possible, we want 1 man serpent greatsword. So now that I've got max item discovery, they're not dropping the greatswords for me. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. I was not expecting it to drop that early. I was expecting to do probably somewhere in the region of 5 of these farming runs to do it. So keep going. Yes, that means that you will have more souls than I do. Do not worry. If you want to, you can look ahead and see what I spend them on next and then spend them in advance. All I would say is, unless it's on things like arrows or equipment that I'm not using, do not level where I do not level. Also, do not overspend. Make sure you always have at least the same number of souls that I do, because there are times in the game where we are saving our souls to purchase something else. So I'm now going to say you are going to keep farming until you get your man serpent greatsword. I've got mine, so I'm going to carry on in the interest of time. At this stage, ideally, you don't need to be reverse hollowed at this point. We're going to do it at the next bonfire, in fact, so ignore that. Apologies. Right, so now we're going to carry on. I guess in the interest of the video, it's good that I got some good RNG, because that way I don't have to farm as long. For the future farms, I'm going to either do the farm as a separate video on its own, or at the end of a video, so that you don't have to watch the entire farm. Obviously I have to do it because I need the items as well as you to continue the guide. But this is a farm that kind of fits right in the middle of the path into Sen's Fortress, so there you go. So I'm going to carry on. You do that man serpent farm as much as you need until you get the man serpent greatsword drop. I mean, alternatively, if you want to use a weaker weapon and make the catacombs a bit harder for yourself, then you are welcome to do so. That is the main reason why I'm using the Man Serpent Greatsword. It is a strong weapon. The move set is also going to be familiar with other weapons that you're going to be using. So there is method to the madness. Much easier now that they die to one parry. And if you've had to farm for that Man Serpent Greatsword, then you also have more parry practice without having to fit that in on top of your farming. Right, your time is up, sir. So the boulders may not be dropping down here. The key thing to be mindful of is if you hear a loud screech, that is the direction of the boulders changing. So give it a second. If you don't hear the screech and don't see the boulders, then just run through. There you go, there was the screech and there's the boulder. There he is. So, oh, didn't lock on for some reason. Two hand, donk, donk. And so yeah, as you're about to find out, the boulders are on a pivot system, so that it will try and follow wherever you are. Unlike last time where we dropped down, we are going to run all the way to the top after the next boulder drops. There we are. So, we're going to do a couple of things at this point. The first and foremost is that's down there is the wall with our Man Serpent casually leaning against it. We're going to push the lever and we're going to send the boulders down that wall. You'll know you've got the right one because you'll see the Man Serpent taking some damage. And we're going to let the boulder deal with the Man Serpent. While it's so, I don't need to farm items, so for now I'm going to switch to my Ring of Steel Protection again. One more. So it's normally every other boulder that hits him because he's doing his standing animation. There you go. Once that's done, what we're going to do is we are going to continue to push so that the boulder has gone down every path. And lastly, down here. This is to guarantee that Siegmeyer has had a path without a boulder at least once so that he can carry on his journey. Now also, we're going to make sure it's pointed that way it's a dead drop somewhere you're not going to go, because we are now going to come down here and that wall that he was leaning against has now been demolished. Now because we picked the master key, we do not need to get the cell key, so we can just talk to Big Hat Logan and open his cage. Talk to him again. He's going to resume his travels, he's going to return to Firelink, speak with me there so that I may impart my sorcery. I always talk to him one more time, but you should be good, but it doesn't cost you anything to talk to him, so open this cage. Walk in, grab Soul of a Hero. We are going to use that to upgrade our Black Knight halberd later in the game. It is the exact amount, 10,000 souls, that you need to get it to level 5, which is its max level. Come up here, and we're going to go back where we just came from. Just be mindful for that screeching. Yeah, there it is. So we're not the only one. although you never see the enemy that moves it, nevertheless, that lever that controls where the boulders come from does get moved. So you have just enough time. I always like to just make sure it's pushed away, just to guarantee that Sigmar is going to finish leaving Sen's Fortress. We do need him to move on to Anor Londo, because we do need a miracle from him. Trap on the floor, all you need to do is step on it and then step back. You can either press circle on its own to do a dash back, you can roll back, you can run back, whatever you need. So you could have done that, you could have done that. You can actually also roll forward, and more often than not you're going to avoid them all, but I do find there is a chance that the last arrow hits you if you roll forward. More pendulums. I believe this is the sprint through. Just watch, and yeah, this is the sprint through. Do it in one. Man Serpent to the right. Make sure to beat him up, otherwise he is going to catch you by surprise while you're fighting someone else. Two-hand, run up. He's going to roar, which gives you plenty of time to get your two-handed strikes in to beat him. He will attack you from behind if you come here first. And lastly, this Man Serpent is guarding some large Titanite shards, so you want to defeat him and get those. And another Man Serpent Greatsword, wow. I don't need two, so I'm not going to pick that one up. We're picking up quite a few items, because obviously we need all the rare weapons and shields. So our inventory gets quite clogged already. Now, get your bow, lock on while you're behind the wall, and all you're going to do is you're going to step to the right and then immediately start spamming R1. And then you will be able to attack before he does. He's going to keep trying to throw lightning spears at you, but if you keep spamming the attack button, you will always get a shot off just before he does. So, and similar to before, we're just going to bully him off of the ledge. You're not going to kill him with damage, you're going to kill him with gravity. There you go. Walk, walk, walk. There are some more pendulums. This is another 2 and 2, but the gap in between them is a lot smaller. You can sprint it all the way, however I do find that there is a chance that you get knocked off if your timing is off. So, sprint and stop. Sprint, there's a trap there, walk all the way to the wall, keep walking to the wall, and then just slowly move up. And we're nearly at the next bonfire. Come up here. Come to the left steps. Come up these. Quickly grab this item. And quickly drop down this hole. There you go. From here, I always like to repair, as I think I've said before, but if not, you don't have to repair as much as I do. I am quite paranoid about it. I don't like the concept of my weapons breaking mid-fight, but I definitely do it more than you need to. But it doesn't cost much to do, so it's not a bad habit. From here, level up strength to 19. If you have the souls from your farming or anything else, we are going to get our strength to 20. It is not guaranteed at this point. If you did not do the farming, also, I had the lightning enemy at the top of the steps came down twice. So just in case, I'm going to go to 19 because that is what you're guaranteed to. However, if you, like me now, if you have the souls, put it into 20, also perfectly fine. But yeah, so 19 is guaranteed right now. So strength to 19, 20 if you can. Come out here, and this is the stairwell where those two traps were. So here we are again. There's the giant that's dropping the boulders. And this is why we're running, because those boulders are going to get caught on fire and hurled at us. So we're going to run up the steps. Don't let your stamina deplete. Large giant charges too. Come over here. There you go. So all those black marks on the floor, that is where flaming boulders are going to be launched at you. So this guy, you can't get a backstab on him. Just roll when he attacks. Make sure your shield's up, just in case for that reason there. So if you do mistime it, you're not taking sizable amounts of damage. Keep behind him, and shouldn't be too big a problem. Has a chance of dropping a Titanite, however that one is not guaranteed. Please pick it up if it's you. I am not picking it up because that is one Titanite that I would have that you're not guaranteed to have. And as I've said numerous times, sorry if you're bored of it, this is a worst case scenario run. So I will always be buying items that you may have had dropped for you, but because it's not guaranteed, I will play only in a way that you are guaranteed to be able to follow along for. Rickard here, he uses a bow and he uses a rapier. He will parry you, so the best thing to avoid that is keep your shield up. When he bounces off it, that's when you attack. You can also use the stairs to your advantage because some of his attacks will go over your head. But the key thing is, if he bounces off your shield, you're safe to attack because he can't parry you while he's in that stunned animation. He drops Rickard's rapier, we do not need that, so I'm not going to pick it up. To the right here is the rare Ring of Sacrifice. Do not use this one. We need this one because there is a point in the game where we are going to die intentionally. We have to progress. Also, there is a chance that we die via curse. The rare Ring of Sacrifice nullifies curse on death. So that one, the normal Ring of Sacrifice, perfectly fine. However, the rare Ring of Sacrifice, we're going to save that. And you could just run back, but I'm actually going to homeward. Boom. If you are running back, be careful because again, those flaming boulders, just make sure your shield's up when you're reaching any of those points. The safest bet is homeward bow. At the bonfire, as I mentioned before, we get our strength to 20. And make sure you have reversed your hollowing. This is very important. We're going to make the next boss as easy as possible, and that is important that we are able to summon an NPC to do it. So reverse hollowing. No need to kindle that bonfire. This is not a difficult boss. We're not actually fighting the boss. So resting at the bonfire also resets the giants, so we have enough time because they always throw it to the bottom one first. After that, they start to track where you are. So as long as you keep moving, you don't have to worry about it. But if you stop en route, then there is a chance they'll hit you. Come here. Come to the right. It's a crossbow hollow, as you might have just heard. Keep running. Just make sure you don't run out of stamina. So do a replenish. Keep your shield up. One of the advantages of spear weapons is you can attack while your shield is raised. We're going to come up here and we are going to defeat the giant golem that is hurling these explosive cannonballs at us. The reason for that is it's not just here, it is also during the boss fight that he can throw them as well. So he has 3 attacks, the arm swing you just saw, the slow foot stomp, and then he has the fast foot stomp with raging swings. If you stay behind and stay back, you don't have to worry about any of these. Arm swing is to the sides and in front. Leg stomps hit directly underneath his feet. Come on. There we go. Fast, fast. Keep your shield up. He's going to frantically swing, and then he collapses. And then spear him on the butt. Two-handed for more damage. There we go. Guaranteed Titanite chunk drop. So always grab that. And now he will not be throwing flaming boulders at us, or flaming cannonballs at us during the next boss fight. Come in here, summon Iron Tarkus, the legend of all of the knights. Iron Tarkus is the strongest, able to wield a full set of black steel armor, his great sword and shield. Black steel is a black iron, might be black iron. Okay, so once Tarkus comes through, we're going to step through. We're going to walk close enough that Tarkus aggroes. If you stay back immediately, then Tarkus will stay back with you, so it's a bit pointless. You need to get close enough that he goes, oh, okay, we are fighting this thing. Come on. There you go. Once he starts fighting, move back and watch the show. So, there is an incredibly slim chance that Tarkus gets thrown off the edge. Now, if that does happen, you have two options. You can either fight the Iron Golem. I mean, he's a bit of a joke boss anyway. His moves are so slow, as you can see. You can easily roll between his legs, get behind him, and avoid all of his attacks. But realistically, unless you're in your new game plus, you don't have to worry about Tarkus getting thrown off the edge. But yeah, as you can see, Tarkus is more than capable of fighting this boss without you. The boss actually also has a stagger point where he'll start to lose balance. There is actually a cheese where you can make him fall off the edge of the bridge. That's what all the speedrunners do. But we're playing safe. We're playing smart. Go on, Tarkus. You're so close. One more swing and you've got him. You got grabbed. Why did you get grabbed? You could have just, yeah. Now you have to hit it. There you go. Come on. Ah, Tarkus. I talked you up. There you go. Well done. A boss fight you literally don't have to fight. I guess Ceaseless we didn't have to fight. Well, we had to punch him a little bit. Well, make sure you get your souls, and then examine the Ring of Light. Cutscene as you get flown to Anor Londo for our 8th trophy. Reach Anor Londo. So I remember my first ever playthrough. At this point, I didn't know when the next bonfire was. I assumed there'd be one soon. I got here, I had no heals. I saw this enemy and I went, oh no. No, I can't go through all that again. And then thankfully, that one does not aggro you. So keep coming. If you're not familiar with the game on the map and this is your first proper playthrough or first time reaching this far, the bonfire is down here. So don't panic. Rest, prepare if you wish. And we're going to level up. We're going to get our vitality to 20. And our dexterity up to 18. Nice chunk of souls from the Iron Golem, Iron Giant. Once you've done that, now that you don't have to worry about losing 40-something thousand souls, we're going to do a little bit of backtracking before we proceed into Anor Londo. Now, equip the covetous gold ring. These giant halberd wielding enemies do have a chance of dropping their halberd and their shield, both of which are rare items. I will not pick them up because it's not guaranteed. If they do drop, please do pick it up. You're going to save yourself many souls. So I fired an arrow. Now when I get closer, he's going to move. What we're doing is we're picking one at a time. Strategy here is, as always, get behind And in this case, he's going to do a shield bash. No, he's going to jump back. Come on. There you go. Step back, because there is a shockwave, as you saw there. Two-hand. Always have your shield up when he could be attacking. Worth noting, as you just saw there, his shield blocks 100% of all damage. So you have to be to the side or behind to do any damage to these guys. There we go. Engage one at a time. Oh, mistimed that roll. Cheeky, attacking me just at the moment that I got up. As I say, be mindful, because that shield bash does have an AoE range. It has a shockwave, so if you're too close. So yeah, you pick this up if it drops. Me, I'm not going to. I'm going to spend the souls to buy it from the blacksmith. But that is, if it is a halberd, that is 5,000 souls saved. If it is a shield, that is 10,000 souls saved. Open the chest, grab the demon titanite. We're going to use that to upgrade a weapon. I'm going to heal. And then we're going to come across and do the same thing on the other side, which is going to get us a twinkling titanite and the crystal halberd. Crystal halberd we are going to use for one boss fight, which is actually the next boss fight, Ornstein and Smoke. Again, pick off one at a time, because you don't want to have to be doing all the evading of two when you don't have to. Play smart. So don't worry too much if some of your attacks miss, as you've seen with some of mine, just because the spear, sadly, it's a pokey weapon. Which means, yeah, it does have the tendency where pokey weapons, you have to be spot on to be able to hit things. We're not going to be using this for too much longer. Wow, that's 2 drops. As you can see, as long as you fight these guys smart, get behind them, bait out the shield bash, gives you plenty of time to get 2, maybe even 3 hits in. If you do get 3 hits in relatively quick succession, that does stun lock them, so you would have seen sometimes on the 3rd hit they kind of staggered, at which point you can then got enough time to then get the remaining pokes. Now, one of these chests is not like the other. So as you can see here, chain pointing towards the body, safe. Chain pointing away from the chest, mimic. No, not kick. 1, 2, 3, 4, and get away so you don't get grabbed. Get your stamina back, get your shield up so that you don't take any damage. Side or behind only. Do not get grabbed. Well, you get grabbed, worst case, you're going to have to fight him again when you come back from the bonfire, but it's just, you don't need to. He will drop Crystal Halberd. Fantastic. So, with that done, we're going to go back to the bonfire. We're going to level up our strength to 21. And then that's where I'm going to stop this video, ready for Anor Londo in the next one. So, strength to 21. And there we go. One more trophy done. All of Sen's Fortress sorted, cleared, done as necessary. Ready for Anor Londo. So in the next video, we are going to go through Anor Londo, and we are going to finish on the Silver Knight farm for the Silver Knight sword, spear, and shield. But we'll do that at the end of the video, so that once you've cleared through, well, all of Anor Londo, ready for Ornstein and Smoke, you won't have to watch me do the farm, but you're going to have to do the farm as well. Don't worry about that. That's for next video. In the meantime, I hope this has been helpful for you. I hope you've been able to play along and follow along. I hope this guide is helping you. I hope it's enjoyable for you. Like and subscribe if it does. Also like and subscribe to help encourage and enthuse the next set of content, so that we'll have a Demon Souls Platinum Trophy guide for you, following the same methodology as this. Guaranteed as easy a method as possible, not catering for any random drops. So, until the next video, thank you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.